As I walk down the street, seems everyone I meet gives me a friendly hello. I guess I'm just a lucky so-and-so. The birds in every tree, all so neighborly, they sing wherever I go. I guess I'm just a lucky so-and-so. If you should ask me the amount in my bank account, I'd have to confess that I'm slipping, but that don't worry me.
Bienvenidos, welcome to DC TBD for this Thursday night. What is it, are we, May 24th?
May 24th.
May 24th?
Yeah.
Welcome everybody to DC TBD. I'm here with the exquisite Michelle Bush. Michelle, how are you living this week?
Good evening, you beautiful people.
Yes. Excuse me. You will notice the Venerable Marcus K. Dowling is not in his normal seat. In fact, Michelle's not in her normal seat either.
Neither am I.
We're switching up. Marcus is gonna roll in mid-show. You watch. It's gonna be seamless.
Literally.
We're gonna be in the middle of something, and all of a sudden he's gonna be like, "So, this is the thing."
So this is the thing. We love Marcus.
I love Marcus. He's a thinker. And I appreciate people who think, even if they think that Kanye is going to be president. But
well, with the way things are going right now, I mean,
why not?
Even production is like, I mean, you know,
why not?
I mean, we already got a sinkhole going, so you might as well just keep adding to it.
Yes. There's a sinkhole in the White House. I believe that is the gates of hell opening up.
Yes. Freddie, Jason, Hellraiser, they're all coming.
Pinhead, they're all coming for Trump.
They're all coming.
Thank you to the good people here at One Love Massive. We're coming to you live from the One Love Massive HQ, the Creative Factory, in the Shaw neighborhood of Washington, D.C., your nation's capital.
Yes.
Shout out to Shaw, just down the street from the Venerable Howard University. And across the street from the historic Howard Theater. We are like right in
Yes, we are.
the cut right here.
Yes, we are.
This is beautiful.
Go-Go on the corner.
Go-Go on the corner.
See
we get Go-Go in here, don't we?
Yeah, we get Go-Go live in here.
3 days a week, 5 days a week, whatever.
Do they still take pictures in the CVS parking lot with the big step and repeat? For those that don't know, that is the backdrop is called a step and repeat.
Yeah. So. Thank you to Nick, to Mike, Molly, all the good people here at One Love Massive.
We did a fun photo shoot this week with Molly.
Yeah,
you know,
how'd that go?
It was cool because she was like,
some good shots,
yeah,
some glamour shots.
Absolutely. I don't understand how Molly didn't have a Nikon, whatever. She just had her cell phone.
Yeah.
And just took pictures. It was just pretty much all of us coming on, coming over, trying on some shirts. And it's One Love Massive.
Very cool.
DC as fuck. And
go to onelovemassive.com.
Yeah.
You can hit up the store on onelovemassive.com. You can get your very own original DC as fuck gear.
Let's be real clear. We talked about this. Original,
like straight OG. There may be other fakes out there.
Wow.
You may get other cities, Dayton as fuck or Ames as fuck.
Here's the thing. So she does have some other ones. So we need to shout out to our Be More folks. She actually does have some Be More as fuck shirts.
Philly as fuck.
I
think there's Miami as fuck.
And she got something else. So yeah, definitely check it out. and everything. Molly's just good people. Proud as fuck. Yes. And I know, shout out to this weekend because it's going to be real live.
Oh, my.
Here in D.C.
Oh, my. I have a feeling somebody's going to have that as their favorite thing of the week in coming weeks.
I don't know.
So, if this were like a real professional operation, like we would probably have product sponsors and stuff. But it is clearly not that. This is a very fly-by-night operation, despite the fact that we have very capable people working. This is like literally
extremely capable.
We're just taking up free airtime with our bullshit. So it's like we don't actually have any product sponsors. So I'm hoping we can generate some product sponsorships by doing like our own fake sponsorship. So I want to say this week we are absolutely not sponsored, and nor do they endorse in any way DC TBD. Melon Creamy Soda, tasty brand. Michelle is drinking some.
Yes.
This is fantastic. I'm a big fan.
I love it.
I'm a big fan.
I wasn't sure about it when
I'm going to go up to Lotte or whatever local Asian market that
when Nick first said it to me, I was like, "You said what?" Creamy soda. I'm like
Japanese creamy soda.
I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I don't know how that's going to taste, but it is wonderful. Tasty.
Yeah, tasty. So
on my end,
do you have a company that absolutely does not in any way sponsor us?
I have a company that not in any form or fashion sponsors us. But I would just love, it would just be amazing because they are such wonderful people and such a wonderful place to go. But Natural Holistic medical marijuana dispensary in Washington, D.C.
For all of your medical marijuana needs.
Yes, it is minority owned.
That's always a
Dr.
good thing.
Shonda, she is the best. She's a sweetie pie.
Yes.
I never forget one day I was having like a really severe 15-day migraine. Mm-hmm. I do suffer. And I walked in and my eyes were just going every which way. She could tell. She was like, just sit down. Let's look. Let's get you something and let's get you out of here.
She's like, I got you.
I got you. So in my head, Natural Holistic.
Shout out to Natural Holistic, who absolutely, in no way, shape, or form, endorse or sponsor this show. So good. Now that we got that out of the way.
Now it's on to our week of things that we have got to.
A lot of dipshittery that went on this week.
Molly, can we get a shirt that says dipshittery as fuck? I see you're watching, so just shake your head yes or no. She's going to kill me.
We got to talk about the NFL, man.
Absolutely.
We got to talk about the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, where to start? I guess start with the story. The owners have instituted a rule in which individual teams can be fined if any of their players take a knee during the national anthem. I mean, this just opens up a whole Pandora's box. I frankly think it's constitutional for an employer to say, not on company time, do it on your own time.
Right.
I think that's perfectly legitimate. I think these teams are businesses. They're looking at, if we're going to, they're kind of in a no-win situation. If they piss off their black and minority customers who are going to boycott, or are they going to piss off their white customers, primarily white customers, who are going to be pissed off if things go the other way? I mean, you might say they just made a business decision.
Well, that's what they did.
They
did not think, of their morals, of anything else.
That's what I would have liked. I saw Chris Long, who's a defensive lineman for the Philadelphia Eagles, and his father played in the NFL. I believe his brother as well, may still be playing, but excellent player and really smart guy. And he kind of took the NFL to task for this policy. He's one of the few white players who has actually taken a knee in solidarity with the black players who have. But to me, the two things that bother me most about this: one, I understand having to cater to an audience. What pisses me off is that audience is offended by this.
Yeah.
Offended by peaceful, nonviolent protest. That is the foundation of every successful, I would argue, social movement
Right.
in human history. And then the fact that it feels like they caved to President Trump, who has very loudly, as is his wont, very loudly denounced players taking a knee. And, this is clearly intended to rile up a certain subset of the population. And it's, I don't know, it's just like another problem for the NFL. Like I remember 5 or so years ago, talking with some people, and we were trying to figure out, obviously there's deep distrust in government. There's deep distrust in our media. There's deep distrust in so many of our institutions, and we were trying to find out, what's an institution that really can speak credibly to a broad swath of Americans? And I remember saying, it's the NFL.
It's the NFL.
It's the NFL. If you're rich, if you're poor, if you're black, if you're white, if you're Hispanic, if you're Asian, if you're male, if you're female, people love football. They love football, and they love the NFL, and they love their team, and they love to wear the jerseys, and they love to tailgate. And
it's the history. It's the culture.
Yeah.
It's my family has been. This is what we've been doing
exactly
for.
right. That's exactly right.
It's tradition.
I remember watching, look, I was born in D.C. I've always been a Redskins fan. I grew up part of my childhood was spent growing up outside the Chicago area, so I've always loved the Bears. I lived in Michigan for a long time. I have a soft spot for the Detroit Lions. I lived in Pittsburgh for 3 years when I was young. That was 1978 to 81. Like literally in the only 3 years that we lived there, we got 2 Steelers Super Bowls and a Pirates World Series championship. I remember they had the City of Champions bumper stickers everywhere. My school bus had it. I love the NFL. I've grown up in the NFL. The NFL is a part of my family. It's just kind of
same here.
I remember every time I can't put up a Christmas tree unless there's a football game on. You
right,
know? I mean,
right.
It's such a part of
it was
for me.
It was what time you were leaving church on Sunday, so we could get over to RFK Stadium to get to the game. Or my mom would say, okay, well, it's the fellas' time to go to the game, and just
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
You're sitting around, you're watching the Detroit Lions get their asses whooped.
Yeah. Well, we were on our way to Newport News, so, but then that's also the thing. Think about, we think about the Redskins and we think about the history of the Redskins, but at this time, we're going down to Redskins fans all the way down to North Carolina who would drive up here.
Yep.
So there was always a thing, okay, we're going out of town, but it's still Redskins territory.
Well, it used to be that the Redskins, the next team down south of the Redskins was Atlanta. And
right.
then after that, it was Tampa and then Miami.
Right.
Now we've got obviously Jacksonville and Carolina. And,
the whole thing with, with this vote, with this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to say. I'm proud to say I'm no longer a season ticket holder of the Redskins.
Yeah.
I've been boycotting now maybe for about 3 years or so.
Based on what?
So based on medical. So we'll start with
the concussions.
Concussions, but it's more than concussions. It's also the mental health aspect of it. We have a problem in America, and we know that. So I'm definitely going with medical. Then we're looking at domestic violence. There's a problem in the NFL with domestic violence.
Is it fair to ask why is the NFL so tolerant of people with domestic violence issues when they're less tolerant of peaceful protests during the national anthem?
What was my guy's name? Ricky Williams. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna smoke pot and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that and everything. And you basically have a quarterback over here that just raped somebody, and you're more focused on what he was doing compared to what this other person was doing. So it's just it just has always rubbed me the wrong way. And my history with, and then of course now as we're updating this, the inequality in the NFL, and you have this gentleman who wants to take a stand, and in his heart, this is the right thing to do. Other players, this is the right thing to do. And now you've got all these owners and all these presidents
just shitting on them.
And it's just no, you just, boy, get up. No. So my response with this is that what are you going to do? What are you going to do as the quarterback, as the running back, as the tight end, as whomever? What are you doing in the front office? Let's take it off the players. What are you going to do, Doug Williams? What are you going to do in the front office? You all are in front office positions. What are you going to do? Why are we closing our mouths to this? Because Trump? Because you're saying Goodell is like, no, we can't do this. No.
Because Trump. I mean, that's...
We're going to bring this to the table, because my problem is if we don't keep bringing it to the table and keep talking about it, then it's over with. Yeah. It's a wrap. We've lost. And I feel like there's so many articles and there's so many, of course, the New York Times, the Root, very smart, I'm not getting ready to say very smart brothers, but I think they did write something on it. I just read another piece from them. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
What's the next thing that we do? Are we going to band together, brother to brother? I don't care what color you are, and you say, you know what? I'm on my knee.
I would love to see NFL players en masse just do that and just be like, fuck you. If you don't like it, go fuck yourself, because this is, again, I'm saying the F word too much, like my wife always says, Ian.
Sorry.
She says, Ian, God damn it. Why are you always saying the F word? Sorry, Shauna. Sorry. Shauna.
As I'm trying to see, because we've got some folks watching and they are making comments, so I'm gonna peek my little head down here and see what's going on.
Yeah, you probably heard me. I was like punching it up on my phone.
I know.
I couldn't figure out how to mute
so
it.
Funny. It's so funny that we are live, and production laughs at me because I know they're back there giggling at me as I'm trying to read my phone and everything. And clearly, if you want to see me on my phone doing social media, just come to my church, because I'm back there always on my phone.
So let me get back to the NFL real quick, though, because you've been boycotting for several years.
And I'm no longer a season ticket holder.
Right. Like, are you watching?
No.
On Sundays?
No. I went to somebody was like, "Oh, Michelle, come to the bar." Da, da, da. And I was like, "Sure." Not paying it any attention. I can't even name players anymore. Like, that is how far removed I am, and it's just, what irritates me the most. I have friends that are, they're sports fans.
Yep.
They write about sports.
I'm a sports fan. No.
I'm a sports fan.
Yep.
They watch sports, and I can't say I give them a pass. I know how they feel.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the people that I see that are grinning and skinning. Yeah. Throwing their pictures up and doing this and everything. Yeah. And it's like, where are your morals? Where are your values? That's fine. You want to wear your Redskin? I'm going to wear my Redskin sweatshirt. But then we have another problem with the Redskins. That the story about the cheerleaders just came out.
Yeah, it's always something.
It's always something. And it's just like, it doesn't have to be this way. It is time that we as sports fans, consumers, the people that are spending the dollars, see, that's where it hurts.
Yep.
We got to start munching at that dollar. We got to start going for it. Hit them where it hurts.
See, because I have this debate with a friend of mine who's a Giants fan, and he's always like, the Redskins are going to change their name. The Redskins are going to change their name.
No, we're not.
I'm like, no, they're not.
No, they're not.
No, they're not. I'm like, why would they? If you're Snyder, and putting aside the fact that he's
a dummy,
a big dummy. If you're Snyder, what motivation is there for you to change the name?
No.
The league can't make you do it. Your own fans pretty much want the name to stay as it is, even recognizing
it's like 50-50.
even recognizing that it's problematic. It's still, look. My whole thing is they went from the Bullets to the Wizards. That was terrible.
And I wish they would go back to the Bullets.
I wish to God they would go back to the Bullets. Ted. You're going to the Stanley Cup Finals. Come on, shoot us a solid. Go back to the Bullets. Enough of this PC crap. Going from the Bullets to the Wizards. I'm so fearful of what the Redskins will end up being. It'll be like the Washington Unicorns or something like that. I can't. Just you know what? It's problematic. I get it. Just my thing. Leave the name. I realize there's a certain amount of hypocrisy involved in that, and I can own my hypocrisy on this one issue. Which is, look, I grew up. The only thing I know Redskins from, I don't know it as any kind of pejorative. The only thing I know it as is DC's football team.
Right. Hail to the Redskins.
Hail to the Redskins.
Yeah. But I ain't watching y'all this year.
You're not watching, and nope. I got to say, and I still haven't decided, but if I were to engage in my own boycott of the NFL. I have to say, being a Redskins and Bears fan in 2018 may make it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So, but you know what I thought was interesting, Michelle, was you and I again. We had the furious text chain going again, trying to
Yes.
figure out it's less figuring out what topics we're going to talk about. It's more figuring out what topics we're going to drop and not talk about.
Right, and I don't even remember. I literally was reading statuses today,
Yeah.
going over news articles, and I just started just
Yep.
thumbs were going, and then I had to stop and read yours. But like we always say, Wednesday night, okay, this is what we're crafting. By Thursday morning, it's gone out the window.
Gone out the window.
And I knew it was gone out the window when the breaking news came up, and here's your best friend Trump.
Yeah.
I
Well,
said, here we go.
Well, I thought you had some interesting points about kind of maybe the influence that Trump you think is having on the culture, and I kind of wanted you to expound upon that a little bit.
We've talked about this, and I think now I truly believe it, that most of his voters and most of the people that are supporting him and looking at him and saying, oh, he's not a bad president. And I think it was my Uber driver that we had this conversation. They're not looking at all of the bad things that we in our heart know and believe is wrong with Trump. They are looking at a businessman who has built a business, who is a multimillionaire, and decided to become president.
Yes.
And from there, it's okay. He's also a man that said, I am going to do something. I'm going to win. Well, I'm going to run for office. I'm going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I win, I'm going to decide who and what works for me, and I'm going to do what I want. And you're
Yeah.
going to like it.
Yeah.
And that is literally the culture that we're in right now. We are having to deal with what this man wants to do and not what he feels is best for us to be doing.
Does that kind of thought even really enter his mind? I mean, I see
Absolutely
Trump,
not.
I see Trump as very transactional. He wants to know what he can get out of any interaction.
It's always for the come
and
up.
It's always for the come up. It's always for what's in it for me and what am I going to get out of it and yeah, I mean it's tough to watch because it seems like the media focuses so much on did foreign governments illegally help him to get elected? Was he involved in conspiring in those illegal efforts? These are important questions.
Yeah.
These are really important questions. And, I keep, mentioning sort of the crooked media line about Russia, which is that it's super, super important.
Right.
And there's nothing you can do to influence it,
Yeah.
to help it.
What
They just have to do their work, and I understand why it's interesting. It could potentially be, if you look at sort of a worst case scenario, it's there's literally a foreign agent that has Manchurian candidated himself into the presidency, operating on behalf of another foreign power.
Right.
That's obviously. There's a lot of evidence that has to come out before we're able to make that leap. But you know what? At this point, can we say that that's far-fetched? I don't really think that we can.
No.
But again, there's really nothing that we can do to influence all of that. And it's interesting for all those reasons, but we can't really help the process. What we can do is, mobilize ourselves for 2018,
See, we always go back to 2008. And as Marcus is not here yet, I know he's on his way. He had another wonderful event to do.
I'm sure he's on his way. He's
Right.
probably
with all the fly kids and Geronimo. But as
he's probably running down the street. It's like a
Right.
scene out of Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
we always go back to 2008 because we have to go back to 2008. I continue to say you all put on a campaign. I'm gonna say you all saying stay woke. Well, the problem is everybody went to sleep once Obama was elected president, and this is now what we are dealing with. We're talking about we've got to look to the midterms and to November of 2018. It's too late.
It is too late.
It's too late. We are looking at daily issues. Everybody's hung up on the daily. Now, granted, some of us have to follow the dots, follow the lines, because that's what our job is. We've got to be thinking 2020. And almost right now, if he runs, he's going to win. He's going to win. I'm here to say it. I really believe that if he runs, he's going to win. I know we talked about Kanye, and if he says, I don't want to play anymore, I'm going to make Kanye president. And yeah, Kanye may win, because Kanye sure just bamboozled Pusha T with his album cover. Poor thing. Now we got Whitney's bathroom on the... I said, what the hell? Okay, but anyway.
I think I agree with you. Actually, I think he's. I don't want to say that if he runs again, he's going to win. I would say this. I would say it's far more likely that he wins re-election than that he's removed from office.
Correct, because we are literally every single day. What was the number? I'll go over it. Business partner. 125 years of jail time, $5 million in tax fraud, and literally got slapped on the wrist for four years probation and a $50,000 fine. The walls are closing in.
The walls are closing in.
But they ain't crumbling. The Secret Service has not put up a plan, because what did we say a couple podcasts ago? That the Secret Service, we're going to be like, oh yeah, so we're getting ready to take you to the Madison Hotel, and they're just going to beeline in straight to 1900 Massachusetts Avenue, Southeast DC. Sir, you're going straight to jail.
DC jail.
We're putting you right over there at DC jail. Put him in the holding cell. And and we sit on here and we may giggle and we may laugh and everything, but you're talking about three individuals that are working every single day, just like you all are, in this area and in politics, and trying to understand, because when we go to sleep at night, it's just like, wait a minute, how is all of this happening? It just doesn't make sense. And then you've got to try to get some rest, get up the next day, and go on with things. And it's just, what did my friend Mike, what did he call him? Oh, yeah. He said, it's time that we start to respect Donald Trump as a foreseeable enemy. And it's like, yeah.
Foreseeable.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I will say this. Look, I paid attention during the campaign.
And not everybody did.
Not everybody did, because, we get outraged daily by shit that Trump does. But I will say, and I speak only for myself, there is not a single thing Trump has done as president that has surprised me.
No, I'm not surprised.
This is everything that's happened. Every dipshit Twitter utterance, every mistake that he makes, every time you hear him try to speak about a complex subject and you realize he's a bullshitter who literally just read for the first time 5 minutes ago
and is
repeating the same things over and over again because he doesn't know the subject matter. Like, none of this is surprising to me. The casual racism, the
very casual, very
casual, very easy.
Yep.
It comes very easy and very naturally to him.
And poor Sarah is now saying that all the criticism and us calling her a liar and everything, it bothers her. Well, how the hell do you think we feel every single day when you and that man get on television?
I'm sure it does bother her.
Come on, Big Chops. You do better.
I'm sure it bothers her. It's going to bother her all the way into a Fox News show when this whole charade ends.
His Encyclopedia Britannica. Collusion, everybody, collusion. You didn't think we were going to talk about it just because Marcus wasn't here right now? Collusion, okay? That is the word of the day. That's also another T-shirt that we wanted. Molly, hello? Can we get our collusion?
Collusion shirt?
Dipshittery and collusion.
Collusion as fuck.
Collusion as fuck. And we're going to send it straight to the White House. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me.
That'd be so beautiful. That'd be so beautiful. But I guess let's talk a little bit deeper about how you feel Trump has been impacting the culture, more. I mean, what's happening to our country? Is Trump the cause? Is Trump a symptom of a larger disease? Because I would argue that that's the case. I think he's
a symptom.
I think we have a radicalized right wing in this country, and I think that the biggest culprit is and has always been sort of the right wing media ecosystem, going back to Rush Limbaugh in the 90s.
Yep.
Like, I remember when I'm old enough. I remember when George H.W. Bush was president.
Yep.
And look, I've been a lifelong Democrat. You know, because it's the party that most closely aligns with my principles. And I'm a political junkie. I get the reality. People don't always like the parties, but at the end of the day, when you're talking about presidency, you get one of two choices. Period. End of story.
Right.
You know, one of these two people is going to be president. I don't care how many people are running. One of these two people.
One of these two people
is going to be president.
And we got the other one.
We got the other one. And that's kind of something I want to talk about. Like, where are Democrats going? Because I feel like the difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, the primary difference right now, if you look at on issues, ideological issues down the line, I think more Americans buy into are closer to the Democratic side on issues like abortion, on issues, economic issues, and sort of the distribution of productivity in our economy. You know, it's the social welfare, civil rights, social justice. By no means am I gonna carry water for the Democratic Party and say that they're, you know, on the side of angels in every single every single issue, and that they've got it. You know, they've absolutely got it down right. But they're a lot closer. But they're a lot closer than the Republican Party. I feel like the difference between the two parties is that the right wing in our country have executed a hostile takeover of the GOP. The right wing in the country have taken over the GOP. The left wing in the country shits on the Democrats.
And it's almost like we're allowing it.
Well, this is my thing. Like, when can we sort of like unite the left? I mean, if we're going to unite the left, we have to do it. We kind of have to do it under the umbrella of the Democratic Party. Like, so how are we going to get these people in? Because the parties, you know, I mean, people think of the parties as sort of like the ideological sorting houses. They are not. They are money generating enterprises. They raise funds,
LLC.
Millions and billions of dollars, and they distribute it to candidates around the country.
Yep.
That is what they do. So when you sit there and you talk about, we need a third party, I want to deal with the Democrats. What about the Greens? What about these folks? What about these folks? No. It's got to, if you're going to unite the left in a way that is going to affect meaningful change, that's going to get people elected at state levels, at local levels, at state, in statewide elections, and in national elections, you need the Democratic Party as that bulwark against, against a radicalized right now Republican Party that it will not, even though at best they are 50% of the country,
right.
They try to rule like they're 100%. And right now they're 100% of the government. Yeah, Democrats are, again, I don't carry water for the Democrats. I'm sick of the leadership. I'm sick of Democrats pulling defeat out of the jaws of victory as they've done several times in my lifetime, much to my chagrin and anger. George Bush never should have been elected.
Right.
And sure as shit, Donald Trump never should have been elected.
Correct. It shouldn't have even been a thought.
So Democrats will fuck up. They absolutely will fuck up.
And so will the Republicans.
But the Republicans have
they're showing
everything going right
they're
now.
showing, number one, we've got to get out of our own way.
But how do we unite the left? How do we bring the Bernie people who couldn't see it in themselves to support Hillary Clinton? These are progressives. They see what's on the other side. They have to see what's coming. Again, like we just said, if you were paying attention to the campaign, there is nothing that Trump has done as president that surprises any of us.
Correct.
So how do we
get out of our own way and come to the table and actually
get everybody together? I mean, look,
you put melon creamy soda on the table. I'm just saying. But in a sense, you've got to put something good on the table. And unfortunately, that's where we are now in government. What good are we putting on the table that everybody can kind of chomp the bit at? I don't know, will it work? Or it will fail again miserably. But we've got to get out of our own way. The Democrats, it's almost like we have to stop saying, now, we're not going to stop talking about our history. We're not going to stop talking about the bad things, and we're not going to stop talking about the good things that have worked, but we've got to talk about the things that are not working. How is it that you elected a president, had all these grassroots organizations, raised all this money, and then once he got into office, everything just went fluttering away? Where did all those people go? So you have all these people that have said, you know what, I ain't voting for Hillary. I'm damn sure not voting for Trump, but I'm going to stand behind Bernie. What is it that appealed to Bernie so much that you said, that's who I'm voting for? That's my man. What is the appeal of your candidate?
Mm-hmm.
Is it the person? Is it what they stand for? Or is it what they're going to be able to bring to the table? And I think, again, we've got to get out of our own way. We've got to let some of the feelings go of the past, saying, you know what? Oh, I would never vote as a Republican. Well, if you look at the numbers and the stats, some of y'all did. Some of you did, because you just couldn't vote for Hillary.
I know personally, 3 black people who supported and loudly supported and voted for Trump.
I'm not sure. No, yeah.
I think I know a couple of Hispanics as well.
Yeah, I think I do. I think I do. Some of y'all out there on my Facebook list.
I know plenty of white people who voted for Trump, and
but in the sense of, how do we get out of our own way? What election do we look at?
The next one. This year.
No, but I'm talking about in the past. Do we go back to looking at Nixon's election and when he was in office? Do we go back to looking at Roosevelt? I mean, where can we look at and say, all right, this is when this band came together and this band came together, and this is when we had a great presidency?
Well, I've always said that we need a little more. We need a little more Roosevelt, and we need more Teddy Roosevelt sometimes than Franklin Roosevelt. And what I mean by that is, I think that the Roosevelts did, sort of like the two of the steps of the tripod. I would say President Johnson with the Great Society came in later, but you had the New Deal, certainly, which was in the midst of the Great Depression. FDR basically kind of guaranteed government jobs. It was make work. It was like, look, we're going to do this. We're going to create these national monuments. We need people to help work here. We need people to help work here. We're going to,
I feel like
Tennessee Valley Authority.
I almost feel like we need that again.
We need that again. But I also, when I look at what Teddy Roosevelt did, Teddy Roosevelt was president about 20 or so years before Franklin Roosevelt. And what he did was he fought against consolidated corporate power. We very much had a system in which large firms, whether they were U.S. Steel or they were the railroads or whatever, you had these large mega firms that they had no competitors, no real competitors, no able competitors, so they could kind of charge whatever they wanted. There weren't proper regulations on, how they could treat employees. This is all of this early 20th century,
right.
kind of gets into Supreme Court, Lochner era, economic regulation, and how the Supreme Court dealt with economic regulation at the time, child labor laws,
right.
maximum number of hours per week, things like that. And so I've always felt like we need some Franklin Roosevelt, but we definitely need some Teddy Roosevelt. We need government to start reining in corporate power, and what we have right now is a government that is allowing corporations to run amok. We just saw the Supreme Court this week came down with a decision basically saying employers can't, if you've been forced to sign an arbitration agreement with your employer, which is typically a condition of employment, meaning if you want to actually have this job, you have to sign onto this. And it means that these employers cannot then get together and go into court and seek to have labor laws enforced, safety laws enforced, that they can't. Again, corporations understand the power of collective bargaining for wages, collective action in courts with respect to conditions of employment and things like that. And so they're trying to not allow that kind of collective action. And we've seen that now because why did we see that decision come out the way that it did? Because the Republicans held a Supreme Court seat open by Trump winning instead of Hillary. We got Neil Gorsuch instead of a more liberal justice who probably would have been more amenable to employees being able to get together collectively and have class action suits.
So I have a question, and I think I want to ask this a couple of weeks ago, of course, because we can't stop talking about Trump.
I know.
And as we're talking about how to,
I wish we could.
as we're looking
I
at,
wish I could quit him.
no, if I just, just one more hit, just one more hit. As we're looking at, Republican, Democratic, Green Party and Independent, everything, do we feel like voting is now a fad or it's fading away? And I was thinking, when Diddy did Rock the Vote.
We definitely don't vote in the numbers that we need to, that's for sure.
And I feel like, are we ever going to band together again? Is it going to take another Diddy? Does DJ Khaled need to do it? But here's the crazy thing. I felt like it was great. It was amazing. I thought it was good work. It was good grassroots work. But why is it that we have to band together to do something that I have the God-given American right to do?
People died for our right to vote, man. I mean, I take it seriously. I'm not going to sit here and say that I have a perfect voting record in my life, but I have certainly at least every 2 years gone into a voting booth for at midterms and at presidential elections. I can admit that maybe I haven't always been as diligent with the local elections, and frankly, that's a bad thing. That's a bad state of affairs. I mean, I'm calling myself out on that because those are really sort of like the elections that can be really important.
Yeah.
And I think that there's just not my sense is that we're not doing a good enough job in our schools of teaching civics,
Correct.
government,
Correct.
and history.
Correct.
And history.
Correct.
Because we are making many of the same mistakes right now that we have made at other points in our history.
I feel like I was the last graduating class that you had to register to vote before you graduated from high school.
Oh, I wish that was the case. I wish that was the case.
Literally, there was a day you were in class, you registered to vote, they sent it off, boom, you got your little card in the mail.
Yeah,
Done.
They should be doing that. They should be doing that with every graduating class. But having the right to vote doesn't mean anything if, one, you don't exercise it.
Correct.
Two, if you exercise it but without informing yourself about the choices that are going to be on that ballot. Because to me, I always talk about. People talk about the United States of America as an exceptional nation, And I've always said I believe that it's a country founded on exceptional principles.
Yes.
It was not living up in any way, shape, or form to those principles at the time of writing, and frankly, for most of our history, has fallen well short of those principles. But the principles are a good North Star for our country, which is, equality, basically, the equality of people and the ability, the freedom to kind of follow their dreams.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you boil all these things down to their essence, that's what it is. And it requires that kind of exercise in self-government requires an informed electorate, an informed people who can separate the bullshit. I mean, we keep talking about Russian bots planting fake news, and look, I know a lot of people who got taken for fake news, and it wasn't all conservatives. We all did to a certain extent.
One of my Twitter followers
was a bot.
Was a Russian. I was like this. I thought you were Black Lives Matter. Nope, it was Russia. Because when I saw the article on it, I mean, I literally was like,
there were a lot of.
I felt like, get out.
There were a lot of Russians who had put out Black Lives Matter stories.
Because that was the easiest to do.
The White Lives Matter stories too.
Hillary, Trump.
Hillary's a crook.
They put out everything. But it's like,
your vote's not wasted if you vote for Jill Stein.
Right.
You don't need to vote for Hillary.
Anybody know what Jill's doing? Anybody seen Jill?
Who the
No.
hell knows?
Production? No. Is it good?
Who knows?
Who knows? Oh goodness, this is just
So let's talk a little bit about 2018. We actually had some elections this week.
Yes. We had one.
The most notable.
Black Girl Magic.
Little Black Girl Magic.
Black Girl Magic.
With the Georgia Democratic
crushed
primary for the Georgia governorship.
Crushed it.
Stacey Abrams.
Crushed
she beat
it.
Stacey Evans. She beat her by 53%.
Yes, she did.
Like I wasn't paying as much attention to it, and I kind of like caught up with it the day after, and that was what really struck me because I remember hearing the talk beforehand, and it was sort of like, okay, this represents two divergent directions for the Democratic Party. Like one is sort of a more progressive Bernie Sanders, minority focus. That's your Stacey Abrams. Then you've got Stacey Evans, who's more classic establishment Democrat Party, and she's, you know, she realizes that she's in a state that has been a red state, Georgia, for a long, long time,
Right.
and she's feeling, okay, if a Democrat is going to win the Democratic, if a Democrat is going to win the governorship in Georgia, you're going to have to reach across the aisle. You're going to have to reach across to your more conservative neighbors and try to appeal to their sense of good government and, you know, whatever bullshit, blah blah blah. Like Abrams beat her by 53 points.
She was
76.5 to 23.5.
She was pure,
It's a
and
wipeout.
she was honest, and she has an appeal. I know a lot of people that stood with her and supported her here in the area. I didn't get to attend a lot of events because I have the craziest schedule on the face of this earth, and I got fussed at it about it today via text message and everything. But everything that I ever saw about her, I never questioned her.
Yeah.
I never questioned her. And I can't say that about many politicians. And I will say that. I can't say that about many black female politicians. I will be open and honest. And that's, could I look at that camera or that camera back there? She is one of the few that I can say, if I was down there, I would have loved to work for her, and I would have hoped to be on her administration, and she definitely would have had my vote.
She seems very real. She seems very unapologetic about her stances. Even though she is in a state that has been, like we said, a very red state.
Very red.
She's been unapologetic about her extremely progressive stances, and she plans to run a general campaign in that way. She's trying to do what we were just talking about. She's trying to unite the left. She's not trying to reach across and pick off stragglers who are typical Republican voters who just, you know, I don't know, Trump with all these porn stars and everything. But remember, I'm going to have to vote Democrat now. I frankly don't see a lot of that happening, and so I like Stacey Abrams' strategy, which is get those disaffected Bernie voters who didn't vote for Hillary. Get other people who don't typically get involved. I mean, midterms are your classic, more Republican demographics come out at midterms. Right. In presidential elections, you get a broad, and even in presidential elections, we're talking about what, 50% participation rate among eligible age and voting eligible Americans. You're probably getting 50% in a presidential election. So in a midterm election, I mean, traditionally, it's been as low as 20%. Yeah. 20% of eligible voters who come out to vote in midterm elections. I suspect it's going to be higher this time. I think that there is a lot of anger over Trump. And I think that it can be a unifying force on the left because there does have to be unity in order to be. The Republicans are united. They are always united. They talked shit about Trump during
but they were still
primaries.
united.
But you know what? When November 2016 came around,
they were right there.
They were like, he's got an R after his name.
And how many are stepping down now and not seeking re-election? Even your speaker.
And talking. And now, except for Ryan.
Yeah. I mean, some are saying, hey, look, I can't be a part of it. They're stepping up saying, I don't want to be a part of it. Other ones are like, I'm going to stick with my party. So I just wanted to read this. It was, our values state that public schools are the beating heart of our democracy, and that those schools should never be stripped away or auctioned off. This was just one of her team tweets, literally 21 minutes ago. For Stacey Abrams for the now November 6th election. They are on it. Yeah. They're on it. This was literally 21 minutes ago. And that statement alone, she's not giving a quote on numbers. She will break the numbers down. Somebody in DC who said we were doing really well with our school numbers. That's a lie. I'm not going there.
Somebody that we're not going there,
I'm
but somebody. You know who you are, and you know what you did.
She asked for her privacy this week, and we're gonna give it to her.
You know what you did.
But you know what you did. But that was beautiful to say that. It was 21 minutes ago. This is a campaign, and she's speaking to a mass audience.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people that did vote for her, I'd love to see the number breakdown of who voted for her. But I think her appeal is that I'm going to be my true, honest self.
Yeah.
I do want you to look at me as a strong black woman that's going to stand up here, and I want to represent this state. But I want you to look at me as more of a person that cares across the line, across the board. Black, white, Hispanic. What is the value of our education system in this state? What are we producing in this state? How are we going to grow this state? And I'm just very proud of her.
Yeah, yeah.
Very proud of her. I didn't speak out a lot about it, but I stepped back and I watched it. And when those numbers came out, it was just that, yes.
She dropped some straight black girl magic pixie dust all over that race.
Shout out to my homegirl, Kashawn, who is she is the creator of Black Girl Magic. So shout out to Kashawn.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So, all right.
Somebody was throwing up some fingers back there with production. We don't know what's going on sometimes. We're just sitting up here and talk, and we hope. And shout out to everybody that's online. I saw some names roll through here, and I was like, what? Hey, y'all. What's going on?
That's right. Thank you. Thank you to all who are tuning in tonight.
We appreciate it.
Both of you. We love, even though one of them is probably my mom.
Hi, Mom.
She's actually, I don't think she's one.
Oh, we had some folks on here, some Skins fans, and
yeah,
I got some former neighbors up here watching.
Hashtag HTTR.
Yeah, hashtag I ain't in my team no more.
All right. So we got to talk about. All right, we got about 10 minutes to wrap up. So I guess we're going Marcus' list tonight. He can tell us about his Kanye article next week.
Oh goodness, what Kanye is crazy. And today is their wedding anniversary. I think that's what I saw as I was gazing on Instagram looking for something else.
Yeah.
Oh, God bless that marriage. Okay. Anyway.
I care less about that marriage than I do about the
royal
wedding.
Oh, my favorite thing this week, the Royals.
So are we gonna do my favorite thing, or are we gonna do a Bish sesh?
I don't know.
I feel like
no, because no, we're gonna do a Bish. We're going to do a Bish.
All right.
Yeah,
lay it on.
We got to go roll with the Bish because there's a lot of things that, of course, every week, every day, irritate my soul.
Yes.
It just irritate my soul. It is what it is. So this Bish this week is in regards to Serena Williams and her tennis ranking and it dropping because Serena had a baby.
That's right. She did.
How does one's ranking drop?
Because she's not playing.
Because she's not playing. And that be the focus of the headline. You had a baby.
Like, who cares? She's going to come back and she's going to kick ass.
She's going to whoop everybody's ass.
I really hope so. Although, you do have to, I am cautioned by the John McEnroe experience. When I was a little kid, I used to play tennis. I had my wooden Wilson I had the aluminum, the T2000, I think it was.
Oh god, the only thing I had was a TI-82 Texas Instrument calculator. Me and tennis were not friends.
I used to love McEnroe, and then he did he was #1 player in the world, and then he's like I'm just not gonna play for 6 months.
Yeah,
and he was never the same.
He was never
the same. So. I think athletes today are far more diligent about training. I'm sure Serena is not going to step on the court unless she's ready to bring her best. And I think she's got a lot of championship tennis left in her.
But we've seen her. We've seen her. She came back a couple of matches and didn't do so well. But she was still better than. I mean, y'all will grow to get there. Don't worry, in time. But then she's also won. And I kind of feel like the same way like with Tiger. Tiger has had some amazing matches.
He's got some good rounds, yeah.
He's got some good rounds.
He just hasn't been able to put 4 of them together. I mean, he's had a couple of top 10 finishes. Good on him. Good on him.
But so that's my Bish of the week.
Is your Bish? Okay.
Yeah, this Serena Williams dropping in ranking because she gave birth.
I don't have a Bish. I've got a favorite thing this week, and
Okay.
that is the Washington Capitals.
Woo! Rock the Red!
Washington Capitals are going to play for the Stanley Cup
Yes!
Championship. When they were down 0-2 to Columbus at the beginning,
Yep.
they lost the first 2 games at home, and we're just like, oh, shit, here goes again.
What was it,
The
98
Caps.
and 87? This has our skin like,
Yeah, I know,
is this
I
going to
know.
happen? What did I put on my status last night?
Well, I was. This was back at the beginning of the playoffs, and I was talking like, "Oh God, the Caps just have never had good
Yep.
cup caliber goaltending." And then my friend David Rothman, shout out David, he schooled me on Facebook about Holtby's career playoff stats, and was like, "Holtby's good. Holtby hasn't been the problem," and
Right.
you know, Holtby's been fantastic. You know, they held the #1 offense in the National Hockey League scoreless
Yep.
for the last 2+ games of the series.
Yep.
Like if you're gonna pitch shutouts, games 6 and 7 of a 7-game series, that's a good time to do it.
But it was so smooth. It was like we were just sitting there, and it was just like,
Well, I'm a huge hockey fan, and I was really able to appreciate a lot of the little things that the Caps did.
Yeah.
Holtby was great. But he didn't have a lot of work to do in these last 2 games because the Caps defense was so good. They cleared the middle.
Yes.
Like everything was coming in off the side.
Yep.
Skaters are coming around the side, but they were able to keep the middle of the ice mostly clear in front of Holtby. They won corners. They were more physical.
they shook up their goalie. They shook up that goalie. He didn't know which way they were coming. Oh, it was so brilliant to watch.
And we had a fight.
And we had a fight
in Game
We had a
7.
fight.
Tom Wilson. That
He
was
turned
beautiful.
him around. I said, "Oh, this is so great." What is my status last night said that win was for all of us who blew into our hockey game on Nintendo in the 80s,
Yes.
and the Caps were your team. Go Caps!
Yep,
It was
yep.
beautiful.
I played a little Nintendo hockey back in the day. Blades of Steel. Do you
Yep.
remember that
Blades
one?
of Steel.
Blades of Steel. Because you could make Gretzky's head bleed.
Yep. Yep. Ding 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 ding.
I love it. You get into the fight, and
Yep.
then if you won the fight,
Yep.
the dude would hit the ice, and all of a sudden you'd see like this black. liquid
Oh my
come
God! Thanks,
So-
Nintendo.
So the Caps, they have not won it yet.
It's all right.
Like I saw people losing their shit last night. I was as excited as anybody. I was downstairs watching the game, and when I came upstairs, my wife was like, "I know you were trying to stifle it, but I could hear you cheering." I was like, I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah. Trying to don't wake the babies.
Don't wake the babies.
Don't wake the babies.
don't wake the babies."
Yeah.
Oh Lord, no. But they still got 4 more. They still got 4 more wins to get that cup.
We're
Man.
gonna do it.
They say got 4 more wins to get that cup. I lived in Detroit for a long time when the Red Wings were winning Stanley Cups, and so I've actually held the Stanley Cup above
Yeah.
my head.
Yeah.
And it's the best trophy in sports.
It's coming to DC.
And damn it, DC
It's
needs
coming to DC.
DC needs a ship.
It's coming
like,
to DC.
DC sports has been depressing as fuck.
Yes. Yes.
Like,
it really
for
has
the last
been.
20
It really
years.
has been.
Like, I mean, you could argue that they've got the best player in the NHL on DC's team. You could argue they've got the best hitter in baseball on DC's team.
Can I be biased because we got black players on the?
You could
on the Caps?
argue that Wall is certainly like a top 5 point guard, I think, in the NBA.
You're talking to me about the Wizards, and my Celtics right now are going to whoop up on LeBron and take this
Oh.
thing. Let's keep going, Celtics.
Don't ever bet against LeBron.
Whatever.
Don't ever bet against
him
LeBron.
and his hairline are about done. Him and his hairline.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Fellas.
Michelle, it looks like we're done. We did
It's
this.
all right.
We did this without Marcus.
It's okay.
We were able to fill. Time without Marcus.
We did it. I said collusion, and I went back to 2008.
Bam.
This is how the end of the show is.
Collusion as fuck, Molly. Collusion as fuck.
Dipshittery as fuck.
And dipshittery as fuck.
Oh my God! I have revival next week, so they're gonna have to pray over me.
my friend Michelle Bush needs some praying and some churching.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
all right. Well, fellow DC folks, Michelle,
Thank you.
Nick, and Mike back there.
Thanks, guys.
Behind the boards. Beautiful work, as
Thank
always.
you, One Love Massive. We love you.
Yes, yes, yes. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.